Back to Hardball, the Florida governor's debate last night between Democrat Alex Sink and Republican Rick Scott got nasty. But an incident that happened during the commercial break is what's dominating today's headlines. As you can see, let's all watch this together. This is a CNN.com video we're watching. A makeup artist, there she is in the light hair, the blonde hair, showed an electronic message to Alex Sink, the Democratic nominee. It turned out to be one from her campaign aides, one of her aides. And Scott was quick to point out, he's the Republican guy looking over there, was quick to point out that his opponent had violated the rules when the debate resumed. Let's listen to him now.
First, Alex, you say you always follow the rules. The rule was no one was supposed to give us messages during the break, and your campaign did with an iPad or iPod.
Well, Florida's Democratic candidate for Governor Alex Sink joins us now. Alex Sink, I've heard nothing but good things about you in this campaign. I've heard you're a great candidate. You're a great. You have a great chance to win down there in a very important state for your party. And my question is, did you know the rules? Did you know you were breaking them?
Well, what happened was, Chris, last night that the makeup artist held up her phone and said, I just got this message. I don't know who it's from. I looked at it because, you know, I'm a mom. My instinct is my daughter's in Europe. I don't know who this message is from. I glanced at it. I didn't understand even what it was, and I just ignored it.
Fair enough. In fact, let's look at the message now, because the message is badly written, even by the terms of the kind of messages we get on our phones. It comes from an advisor named Brian May, who you've dumped now, apparently. The quote, the attorney who won the Sykes suit said Alex Sink did nothing wrong. Tell not to let him keep talking about her. Well, that's a strange bit of advice, and it's not exactly like feeding you the unemployment rate in Florida or anything like that. So you're arguing that you got nothing of any help to you in that debate.
Oh, absolutely not. And besides, I didn't know it was from Brian May at the time. After the campaign, after the debate, I asked what that was all about. He said that he had sent it in, and I said, Brian, that was against the rules, and I can't have someone who doesn't play by the rules in my campaign, and he has left the campaign. What
would you have done if you had looked over and seen Mr. Scott do exactly what you did? In other words, take a call or look at something on a phone. What would you have done if that moment was reversed? Right?
Well,
what we're watching now is so suppose he was getting advice from somebody, he was getting a phone message, and he was reading it as you are now reading it carefully. If he were doing that, what would you do to him?
Well, actually,
honestly, would you have called him on it?
Well, actually, something like that did happen in the very first Univision debate. He walked into the debate with 3 or 4 pages worth of notes, which was clearly against the agreement. And I didn't make a big deal out of it.
Why is he ahead in the poll? I hear he's a winger. I hear he's got all kinds of problems with his company and a big Medicare scandal. He doesn't seem very likable. Is this environmental down there? Is Florida going wacky right? What is your state's always been somewhat in the middle politically. It's got so much diversity. What is going on in Florida? Are they just in a testy mood? They'll go with something like this?
Well, we haven't had a Democratic governor elected in 16 years. And actually, what's wacky that's going on this year is that the 2 largest law enforcement organizations have endorsed me, the Democrat, the first time in more than 20 years that they've endorsed a Democrat. Yeah. And in addition, 16 newspapers have endorsed me. He has not gotten a single editorial endorsement, even from the most conservative newspaper there in Jacksonville. So that's the strange thing that's really happening in Florida this year.
Do you think he's crooked?
Well, all I know is
based upon this Medicare story, I'm talking about his company and his personal dealings. They had to pay a big suit, a couple $1 million. What does that tell you? Let me just go to the particulars. What is the fact that they get hit with this suit and had to pay damages? What does that tell you about his character? And is that an issue or not? You can let it pass.
His character is an absolute issue. It may be the issue in this campaign. He led a company that was charged with the largest Medicare fraud fine in the history of this country, and then when he went to do a deposition, he took the fifth 75 times. Can you imagine having a governor of any state who took the fifth 75 times because he was afraid of incriminating himself?
Well, you know, it wouldn't work for me. Let me ask you about the issues down at the public. You know, for months we were obsessed with the BP oil spill. It turned out not as horribly as I thought it would. You didn't like the way, I'm told, the president handled it. Tell me what you didn't like or thought he didn't do.
Well, I absolutely did not. I went over there within days and saw that the federal government had put BP in charge of the claims process. BP is an oil drilling company. They didn't know anything about handling claims, and besides, they're the ones who caused the problem. I thought the administration should have brought in an independent advisor, or FEMA even should have been brought in, and it took them months before they finally named this Ken Feinberg, and he hasn't done much of a better job for Florida small businesses. It hasn't been a good situation, Chris. Very disturbing.
What do you think of Charlie Crist, the current governor? You like him?
Oh, I like him very much. I like him very much. He has a good heart, and he really cares about the people of Florida.
So I thought he was sort of centrist Florida. I thought we're going to have David Eisenhower on and Julie Nixon on in a minute. And I'll tell you, the Republican Party used to be for things, positive things, and now it's gotten into this wingnut era. Yeah. It used to be for making Social Security work better, not for getting rid of it, fair taxes, not getting rid of the IRS, better defense, not having laser beams all over the place. It used to be somewhat on balance, and now it's going off to this crazy that if everybody's got a gun, everybody has to have a gun to take down their government if they have to. Is that the Florida Republican Party as you see it? Is it that far over?
Well, it certainly has gotten much more conservative. In fact, people are predicting that the Senate and the House, the legislature, will be the most conservative legislature in the history of this state, and that's why many moderate Republicans are endorsing me. I have law enforcement officers, sheriffs, newspapers, of course, and Republican elected officials have just had enough, and that's why they are publicly endorsing me, the Democrat, in this race.